Okay, so I'm noticing a lot of you are having troubles with understanding the graphing form of the equation. So let me just take a minute and explain that really quickly. I've got everything written down, so you may want to write this down somewhere so that you have it as an easy thing to access. The vertical stretch, I think most of you are okay with that, understanding that A controls whether you're going to have a stretch or compression and whether it opens up or opens down. If your absolute value of A is greater than 1, so that could be 2 or -2, 3 or -3, that's going to be a stretch. It's going to make your graph more narrow. If the absolute value of A is less than 1, so that could be like -1/2 or +1/2, or -1/3 and +1/3, anything like that. That's going to result in a compression of your graph, which is going to make your graph look wider. Notice that A is outside of the parentheses. Okay, so this is not a coefficient of x. This is a multiplier in front of that entire function. Okay, so then we have whether it opens up or down. If your A value is positive, you're going to have a graph that opens up, and if it's negative, you'll have a graph that opens down. Like I said, I think you're pretty good with that. The other thing you seem to be doing okay with is your K value. If you see this is like +3, that means you're going to shift up 3 units. If you see this is like -4, you're going to shift down 4 units. Horizontal shift seems to be an area where some of you are struggling a little bit. Notice this is -h. So that's important to understand that this is not your h value, this minus sign. Your h value is this number you see here. If this is a positive, if this is like x +3, that really means that you put a negative h value into your equation to get minus a negative, resulting in a plus sign. If it's a minus sign in front of here, that means that your h value is actually a positive number that was inputted, which means that your value for h is a positive value. Now, this is what you'll see in your equation. And just to reinforce that, let me make these signs what you would see in the equation. So if you see -h, okay, if you see -h, that actually means you're shifting to the right. If you're seeing +h here, that actually means you're shifting to the left h number of units. And the vertex is found by taking the h value and the k value. Notice I'm not writing minus in front of this because I'm just taking this number. Now, if it's -h, we know that h is positive. If it's positive h in the equation, that means our h value was negative. So depending on that, that'll affect your vertex. Okay, and then k is just k. Whatever this value is goes here. Okay, so let's just do a really quick example here. Make sure we understand how to figure out all of this information. So starting out, I see that my a value is -3. My k value is +2. And my h value is 4. Now, I know that, and I'm going to write those things down here. So a is -3. Now, that means we have a vertical stretch, and it opens down. Okay? I'm going to go to k next because that's the easiest thing. Our k value is 2. Okay, so that means we're shifting up 2 units. Now, finally, your h value is actually 4. Okay, because the base form of this equation is x minus your h value. So my h value is actually 4. So what that tells me is I'm going to actually shift right 4. So my vertex, if I wanted to write that, would just be 4, 2. I want to do one more with you. All right, so here's a second example. Once again, I'm just going to highlight some things here. So our a value is 2/3. Our k value is 4. And our h value, now we have to watch this because what that's really saying is x minus -5 is how we ended up getting x plus 5. Okay, and that's an important thing to understand. So our h value is actually -5 here. All right, so you got to think in terms of what did we plug in order to get the equation sitting in front of me. So let's write our different transformations down here. If a is 2/3, okay, so that means that our absolute value is less than 1, which means this is actually a compression. So we're vertically compressed. And it's positive, so we open up. And then I always like to jump to K next. Now, my K value here has a negative sign in front of it, and we pay attention to that with K. So this actually means my K value is -4. So that means we're going shift down 4 units. And then finally, as I mentioned, my H value is actually -5. Now that means we're shifting left 5. What you see in the equation is a plus sign, but because our equation, our base form of the equation says do the opposite of H, what we're seeing is actually -5 was plugged in. So that means we shift left 5. Now as far as our vertex goes, we take our H value and our K value. So our H value is -5 and my K value is -4. So I can find the vertex for my parabola at -5, -4. Hope this helps.